gives us many blessings. The charm for me lies in recognizing the blessings that life has sent my way. Today's guest, Niharika, is a blessing that came into my life 2 years back. For one so young, her calm, her confidence, her grace, and her workouts struck me. Slowly, as she accepted this 52 plus in her life as a friend, I was introduced and exposed to many more qualities that she possessed: the profundity in her thinking, the spirit of understated adventure, her solo trips, her knowledge, her reading, and creative thinking prowess. I could go on, but it's best that we let Niharika tell us about herself. Niharika, welcome to Life Begins at 40. I'm super pleased to have you as my guest. Thank you so much for coming on Life Begins at 40. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thanks for having me, Sanj.
So tell me, Niharika, I've seen a lot of kids whose parents have been separated and living apart from each other. And I have not seen anyone with the cool ability to reflect and be at ease with themselves the way you are. What do you think sets you apart?
Firstly, I think the credit goes to my parents because they're very cool and they're like my friends and I can share everything with them. So I think them giving me this platform has made this transition damn easy. Secondly, I remember when I was 14 and crying about this, my school counselor told me, why do you want war under the same roof when you can have peace in two roofs? And that made a lot of sense. So, yeah.
And you were able to, at the tender age of 14, understand and relate to that.
It made sense. And like I said, my parents made the transition so easy because they're both damn loving and they're both like friends. So that helped.
What has been your greatest achievement so far in life?
So I think my greatest achievement would be to be financially independent at this age because I feel it's not the money, but it gives me a lot of freedom to make certain decisions which I won't be able to make otherwise. So I think that would be one.
If you could time travel, where would you go?
I want to go back to when I was 21 and traveling for a year across it wasn't across the world, it was only across Europe, but I was solo traveling to a few countries and I think that was a very, very good time in life and it was definitely transformative for who I am as a person.
What started your solo travel journey when you were so young?
It was very random. I wanted to give it a try because I was so scared, and also I'm a very socially anxious person. I don't really hang out with a lot of people or meet a lot of people. I prefer solitude. So I thought since I'm so scared of it and since it freaks me out so much, I might as well go and do it. And then I booked my tickets and I went. And then I did not stop because I kept going.
What has solo travel taught you?
I think it taught me to never have a preconceived notion about anything, any place, basically anything at all in life. Like, you have to approach everything with a blank slate and let the experience fill the colors. So many people, so many times we have these preconceived notions. Oh, that person will be like this place is like this, you should go to the city, it's so unsafe, it's like that. Just go with a blank slate and don't have any preconceived notions. So that's what it taught me, and now that is how I approach things. When I have to meet somebody or I have to go somewhere, I will never have any thoughts at the back of my head that this is how it will be. I'll just let that experience fill it in that, okay, this is how it will be.
Oh, wonderful. So, 2020 was a tough year for most of us. I mean, as a grown-up, I felt claustrophobic and I felt tightened inside the walls of my home. How did you structure yourself? And I saw that you were very positive through that time. So, would you like to share what you did? And then also part B, what has your biggest learning been through COVID times?
So, 2020 was a really good year for me, but I haven't said that out explicitly, mainly because just because it was a good year for me, I know, like at the back of my head, I can't put down that a lot of people have suffered. So it sort of feels like a very selfish thing to say. But that being said, we all did have our own struggles. Something which really helped me in 2020 was there's something I said in the beginning of the year, which is to create one main goal, whether it's physical or personal or financial or professional, and then have a step every month to go towards that goal. So when 2020 hit, suddenly we were all confined to our home space and there was nowhere to go out. And what do you do? Like I paid so much for this planner and I didn't know what to do with it, and I wanted to use it. So coming April, I just wrote down that okay, this month I want to do yoga from so and so YouTube channel, and I think that really changed me because I'm so inflexible because of my height. I don't think I can touch my toes very properly without bending my knees. So for me, yoga wasn't about holding poses, but it was just about breathing and getting in touch with my inner self. Biggest learning in 2020 was how being kind to yourself actually has a ripple effect, and we often don't take our time to do that because we're so busy doing other things. So when you start, say when you stop your negative chatter, when you tap into your breathing, then you can, sort of help yourself with, you recognize when you're getting angry or when you're negative, and all these negative emotions, when they surpass you, you recognize them and then you learn to deal with them. So this has a ripple effect with the kind of behavior you have and how you're talking to other people. So I think kindness is the biggest learning of 2020 for me.
See, I always say that for one so young, you have wisdom beyond your years. So, Cutie, you've been a social media influencer. Yeah.
Oh God.
And very early into last year, you cut the umbilical cord with social media platforms. How did you do that? How were you able to get to that stage, and how have you been able to sustain it all these months?
So it's been a great journey because I don't plan on coming back anytime soon. So social media is a very rewarding place. I mean, I did have 11,000 followers and there's a lot of engagement I got in my posts or whatever I put up. So I do think it's very rewarding. It really validates you. There's a lot of fulfillment when people come and tell you that, oh, hey, like I did this because you told me to do it and now I feel great. Or, I've lost weight because of the tips that you've put. Or, I was feeling so anxious last night and then I saw this and I feel so much better. So thank you. So it's definitely a great place to be in this way. However, it really does, I would say that it screws with your mind in ways that you don't know. For instance, you constantly want to know that, okay, hey, like 300 people unfollowed me in last 2 weeks. Why? What am I doing wrong? These self-defeating thoughts start coming in your head. Or and also you would want to constantly reach out to your phone when you're working or things like that. And I read a book by the scientist called Cal Newport who actually explained that human brains are not meant to multitask. You can only achieve great output and be productive and be focused if you stop multitasking. You can't look at your phone and read a book at the same time. You can't work and keep looking at notifications. And the notifications are always just one text or just one notification, just one comment. And this happens 100 times a day. So when I just deleted Instagram, I realized that my brain was so free of this space. I was not seeing 1,000 pictures a day. I did not have thousands of people to deal with. It was a great place to be in. And suddenly I could focus more. I also became more creative. I had more and more ideas that, okay, I want to write about this, I want to write about that. I started writing after so many years. And it was great. So I think leaving social media has a lot more advantages than being on social media, for me at least.
How many books have you been able to read because you left social media?
I think I read more than 30 books last year. My goal was to read about 25.
Wow.
But I don't think 30 is a great number, but it's not so bad. So it's somewhere, I stopped counting after I left social media because on Instagram I used to always put book number 5 of 25 or book number 15 of 25. So must be over 30 books.
How wonderful is that? And they were all different genres.
Yeah, always.
So, for one so young, what do you think? Okay, wait. I'm trying to structure the question. I don't like the way I've written it, but I think we'll go to it. So, Niharika, tell me how important it is for people your age to conform to societal norms.
See, you're asking the wrong person because I'm a very boring 24-year-old. I don't party. I don't meet large groups of people. I don't like going out too often. I'm more than happy being confined to my room and my bed and meeting my loved ones once in a while and like having a lot of family time. So that's what appeals to me. So I believe that you see social norms are again they're very subjective in nature, right? So say for somebody it may be very, very important to look in a certain way because all their friends are like that, even if that means stepping out of who they are. Whereas for somebody else, it just may be that, okay, like there are certain things that society wants me to do. They want me to get married at a certain age. They want me to do things at a certain age. And for them, they may want to abide to that. But I would just say that regardless of what the society says, you need to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable with who you are, you know. So if your personal values do not align with what the society imposes on you, you don't have to go for it. The world is not going to fall apart. There are way too many people. Everybody doesn't have their eyes on you. I think we all live in this effect that, okay, I'm the center of the universe, but that is not true. There are many more people. If you disappear, nobody will care. So, yeah, so I think like my generation lives in this entitlement that I'm everything. That's not true. And you can be yourself, and that's the happiest place to be in, you know.
Lovely. So, what is friendship for you? Because you are a quiet person, yet you're amazing with the kind of friends that you have.
I'm just like, you know, I'm not an introvert. Like, I love solitude, but I'm not at all an introvert. I'm just selectively social or an ambivert.
I like that.
Yeah, ambivert is the word, isn't it? I mean, I'm very Bollywood fan. So, you know how Shah Rukh Khan says, "Pyar dosti hai," in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, I would say, "Dosti pyar hai." I mean, when there's no love, there's no friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no words for that. Okay, so what is that one thing you think that parents don't understand?
Oh God. So, again, like I was actually lucky that I didn't face that, but I think a lot of people around me do. They need to give you a platform to speak out things, you know. It's also safer for the child. For instance, I never have to lie about my whereabouts or, you know, tell them about what I'm up to. And like if I'm lying and say, God forbid something happens to me and I'm lying at home, nobody will ever know where I go. It's also not the kids' fault that they lie because their parents aren't cool with certain things, so they're going to cover up and lie and go ahead and do it, right?
Right.
So I think they need to understand that regardless of them accepting something or not, we're going to do it anyway, you know. So they might as well accept things and give us an open platform to tell them. And I think I'm just lucky that I do have that open platform.
Lovely. Hear all parents, please. So if you could be famous for one thing, what would that one thing be?
Somebody who talks good things. I've always had this creative urge to keep expressing, whether it's through writing, through speaking, not online but like in person, and I just like read so much, and then I become my own guinea pig of self-help books. That whatever the books or podcasts are telling me, I'm going to keep applying it on myself, and then I'm going to tell somebody, hey, you know, I did this and it helped me. So I think I would love to be famous for somebody who just talked good things and helped them or something like that.
And how are you talking good things these days? Do you have a blog that you're talking through?
I do write on Medium. So, and then I share those articles on LinkedIn so they get a higher viewership. But that's it. I mean, these days, so when I was on Instagram, I would want to talk for the world to listen, but right now I am only writing to improve my craft of writing and just getting good at it and enjoying myself. So I'm not focusing on the numbers or marketing. I just want to improve my craft.
Wonderful. So tell me, what are you doing to be your best version when you're 40 years old?
Oh, 40 is really old.
I know. Talk about 50, girl. Your face is on.
I'm really healthy. And I'm not healthy because I have a certain aesthetic goal in mind. I think maybe I'm saying it because I've reached there. So I'm really healthy, and I do eat mostly healthy food. I work out every day since last 6 years. I've woken up at 6 a.m. since last 6 years. Right now it's winter, so that time has moved up. But regardless, I take out 2 hours every morning for myself, whether it's for chanting or meditation. And even throughout my day, I'm very mindful of my breathing or my words or my eating. So I have become very mindful in nature. So I do hope that, all these health practices that I do, they do pay off at 40. At 40, I would just want to be the same way that I am. Like, I just want to be happy. I just know that the state of what I want to be, the state of my mind and my life should be happy. And I think everything else is subject to change.
Yeah. Wonderful. So let's go in for some quick fire questions. What is that one fear that Niharika is wanting to overcome?
Fear of water.
You would recommend everyone read?
Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins.
What do you like the most about Indian culture?
Food.
And what one random stranger who has had the biggest impact on your life?
I've had a lot of random strangers I met when I was traveling, so I think all of them had some impact or the other in life, which I'm very grateful for.
Okay, so do you want to share 2-3 instances or learnings that you've had through these strangers?
Yeah, sure. So I even wrote about something on these lines, but once in Paris, I met somebody who's from Syria, and he's also a journalist, a video journalist. So I actually was very hesitant to ask him about the war or what's happening, or the inside stories, that how is it actually, because the news states something entirely different, something so emotionless. And when I heard stories of him, not just of him, but of his family or the people that he's covered with news and everything, it really startled me. As in, it's so common for us to say that, oh, hey, my life is so hard. I'm not getting that promotion. I don't have enough money. I'm not feeling good. I'm not good enough. But that is not so hard, honestly. Life is hard when and these were his words, that life is hard when so many of you are on a raft and you don't know if you're going to see the shore. That is hard. So that really hit me. And it stays with me even today.
Wow. Okay, so 3 things that bring you most joy.
Food, family, and traveling.
Wonderful. Have you ever thought of modeling?
Never. I'm very camera shy. I actually like being behind the camera and clicking pictures more than being in front of the camera.
Okay, so we have to kind of try and change that also. So when does time pass fastest for you, and when does it pass the slowest?
I remember it used to pass the slowest when I was studying. I've never liked studying, and I was always so average at studies because time just did not pass. It was just so hard to study and cram up. So I think back then it used to pass the slowest, and I'm glad I don't have to study anymore. It passes the fastest when I think so. During lockdown, every Sundays we go to my nanny's place, and the entire family comes there together, and we're eating and having a good time. So I think that is when morning till evening happens, and I don't even realize it.
How wonderful. So, one thing that makes you laugh at yourself.
So Lots of things. So most of the times I react without thinking. For instance, recently somebody very senior at work was stating that, oh hey, like there's no Good Friday holiday in the holiday calendar of 2021. What's happening? And I was on the call and I said, maybe it's falling on a Saturday or Sunday. That's why it's not there on the calendar because they don't include weekends. And then I realized that, wait, what did I just say? It's Good Friday. It has to come on a Friday. So there are lots of such instances which happen.
No, but then coming back to what you said, change is the only constant, so we don't really know. Good Friday could change to a Saturday or Sunday. Right? So, yes. A habit that annoys you about others.
Lack of compassion.
Ah, okay. What do you love the most about yourself?
I think that each day I very consciously try to be a better version of myself. And I know this is rapid fire, but I would still add another two sentences. And recently, that improvement has been to be more mindful of what I'm saying, not just to others, but also to myself. So when I say something, like there are certain words I don't use. I don't use the word hate because I think it gives a very strong negative energy. But that's because that's something my English teacher told me when I was 13 and I never used it since last 11 years. But yeah, I'm being more and more mindful about what I'm telling others and what I say to myself. I think it has a lot of impact in the kind of energy that you're releasing, and getting.
Your most favorite solo trip?
All of them are so good. I think I would say the first one, Amsterdam, because it was the first one and it was me getting out of my comfort zone.
And what is the most spontaneous thing that you've ever done?
Book tickets to fly to a different country when I don't have a visa, and I booked them when I was in an inebriated state. So, not a very proud moment, but the trip happened since I had already spent the money.
So tell me something, you just started or probably not even started earning. How did you manage your finances? Did your parents support you for your trips, or did you live on a shoestring budget from whatever you managed? You want to give any tips to those who might want to travel like you?
So I got a pocket money which I saved from. And I'm a big saver, by the way. Like, I've been saving money since I was a kid. If somebody would give me shaghan, I would always keep aside some money so that it's for safety reasons, as if I don't know what safety I wanted when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. And secondly, I think it's the perception that people think traveling, especially traveling to Europe, is very expensive. I've stayed in places, see, where I stayed in Prague, I paid about 500 a night. Where I stayed in Budapest, I paid about 600 a night.
Wow.
And I haven't paid more than 2,000 ever. Maybe 2,500 was the max I've ever spent for a night. And food doesn't have to be expensive. I love trying local food. So my way to approach a place is usually going for a local walking tour, interacting with the locals, asking them what they eat, and going to the places they recommend instead of what Google recommends. That saves a lot of money. So it's not as expensive to travel as people think it is. So again, it's a preconceived notion that they have.
You made friends in your travels, through your travels, that you're still in touch with?
Yeah. Actually, quite shockingly, I do, quite shockingly, I even party with strangers when I travel. But that's only because it's the simple economic law of opportunity cost, right? Is me being socially anxious that important, or is me seizing the moment so important? So then I just choose the latter.
How beautiful. Going with the flow, right? So,
yeah.
Cutie, lastly, what are the 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
So I think it would be creative, compassionate, and the third one is not a word but a phrase that I'm very excited to live. I love to live, and I see a lot of joy in living each day and each moment. So I think that.
So thank you so much, Niharika Sooty, for coming.
Thank you for having me, son. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to have you.
It was a pleasure for me.
With your youthful charm and energy, You brought a new life, breathed a new life to Life Begins at 40. So thank you, darling.
Thank you for having me, Sanjay. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.